Welcome to another Founder Wisdom Pod. We have Claudius Jehle, I would say, or Jehle. How do we pronounce that?
But in Germany, we would say Jehle, but
Jehle.
Jehle,
Jehle. All right.
whatever.
Yeah, I
Jehle.
prefer Jehle. He's a battery expert. He's a CEO and founder at Volytica Diagnostics. And also still founder at Offmaster. I would describe him as a serial entrepreneur. And I don't often talk to people in the battery sector, nonetheless in Germany, in Dresden. So, Claudius, welcome to the pod. Tell me a bit more about yourself and what you're up to nowadays.
Charles, thank you very much for having me. Yeah, I have a long history in the battery space behind me, and I'm proud to say that not many people probably have a long history in the battery space, because battery for many people feels to be a very new thing. Energy transition, mobility transition, everything evolving around battery. But this is a thing that has been very recent to many people. And for lucky coincidences, I stumbled upon this very expensive component in my past after I studied many years ago. Charles, when we briefed for this, I said I come from Munich. I studied mechanical engineering many years ago, but then I ventured into this, or I happened to stumble into this very interesting space of batteries, which is, in my opinion, and many others, the most expensive degrading component of the mobility and energy transition. And now I'm doing something around this thing, which fascinates me until today.
Right. And it's a software platform that analyzes battery health, right? If I can sum it up.
Yes, exactly. Oh, you're sharing our website. Oh, very nice. As I just said, the battery is a degrading component. It is a wearing component. It is the performance and its safety, and then a lot of other things are going down as you use it, maybe more than many other components that you might that you know. So if you use your internal combustion engine car, the engine will wear down. That is for sure. But if you use a battery, if you charge it with a high charging rate, or if you charge it with a low charging rate, it might have a significantly different impact on its performance and lifetime than with many other components that we are used to, particularly because this thing is entirely non-Western technology. So I guess you and I and many other of the listeners are probably not are probably from the United States or anywhere in America or in Europe, but the battery technology itself is entirely Chinese and Japanese and Korean. It's an Asian technology. One of the first things that we as the Western world, if you will, encountered that is forced into the industry at scale, that is not invented, owned, or produced at scale by us. And it is something extremely expensive. So I think, and I got to learn that, this affects a lot of entities in the whole value chain: insurance companies, banks, financiers, lessors, lenders, owners, operators, trading companies, even my grandmother with her, electric car. But the ownership, the understanding of the complexity is owned by a handful of large cell manufacturers in the Far East. So to understand what the performance actually is and risks around it and how much value these things retain as they are being used and degrade, someone needs to tell the people, the other stakeholders than the manufacturers, what's going on. And this is what we do. We have technology to bring transparency to that.
Right. And how does it work specifically? So you like, I guess there's a hardware involved in that. And from that data monitored from the hardware, your software makes sense of it and returns the health of the battery.
So there is no hardware from Volytica Diagnostics involved. Of course, there's always hardware involved. But we just use what is already there. Every battery system, be it a computer mouse, or be it a lawn mower, or a stationary battery system container, or a bus or a car, whatever. Every battery system has, pardon my French, shitload of sensors already. So there is temperature sensors, there is current and power sensors, there's voltage sensors, whatever, always installed, not by us, but per default. And they generate shitload of data, which is typically somewhere collected in a cloud, but not systematically analyzed for the value it contains. So what we developed over the past decade is something that efficiently, automatically takes this ubiquitous data and converts it into something like, okay, is there any risk? Is there any risk associated to fire risk, burning down of the thing? Or is there anything that I could do to extend the lifetime? Or is there anything that indicates a performance limitation that I could prevent? There is so much in the data and in the signals that every battery system generates that is not used. That's hence also the vision statement of the company. Every battery must be used to its true potential, which we think is not today.
Right. And how many clients do you have for now? Is it mostly centered in Germany, EU? I saw that you had clients in US as well. Like how big is the company? Give me like an approximate.
So in terms of employees, we're roughly 30 employees. With students, it's probably a bit more. And the clients are all over the world. I mean, we almost do not have any client in Germany, although we're a German company, which is a bit odd.
Or is it?
Yeah, I have never really understood why. Most of the clients are either from anywhere else in Europe or South America or North America, where I think the energy transition or mobility transition has progressed in a commercial way more than in particular in Germany. So we are we are monitoring electric buses in Mexico City. We are monitoring large scale, grid scale utility owned battery storage in the United States, in Arizona, Texas, and I think also in California. We are monitoring, I don't know, trolley buses in Bulgaria. Our technology is applied all over the world.
And what do people pay for that? Is it like monthly fee or like what's the monetization here?
Yeah, so per battery unit or per battery asset that is under monitoring, there is a monthly fee or typically an annual fee to be paid, which depends on the feature scope that people buy, depends a bit on what they're interested in, just safety or just recommendations how to extend lifetime. There is various packages that people can buy, and the total volume of assets. But in essence, it's a SaaS thing. We do also offer one-time assessments at the beginning of life or when the warranty ends. But by and large, the business model is continuous monitoring with a SaaS fee.
Got it. And how do you get these new customers? Like, you don't have much clients in Germany. Have you done prospection in other parts of the world? Is it LinkedIn outreach, cold email? Is it SEO? How do you go to market with that company?
We do cold outreach, but with not as much success as if we do content marketing, I would say. So batteries are new to many industries, to many decision makers, and the ones that the decision makers are hiring. So we try to create content that people like and understand that we are knowledgeable, and then they reach out. One thing. The other is that we go via partners. Our technology integrates seamlessly into established players in many of the industries that we're working with or where batteries are being deployed. Large grid scale battery systems are rarely deployed standalone. They're often deployed next to a PV park or a wind park, a wind farm. So those assets already have a monitoring system, and we are often integrating and partnering with the companies that monitor these assets. So there is a kind of, not, I wouldn't say word of mouth, but we're piggybacking into existing players in the industry. It's not so much LinkedIn, although I think we're underusing this. So I think we'll work on our social media LinkedIn strategy more in the upcoming future.
And what's been challenging about running that business specifically?
That at scale, the buyers do not know what they're buying. The battery technology has been, one could say, forced into the market with very little expertise on what is actually needed to run, maintain, operate, own those systems in the dimensions that they're present now. That means that rarely people approach us and say, okay, we have this and this and this requirement. Rather, we have no fucking clue. We have to install batteries now. Tell us what to do. And if you have to educate every single client about why they need it and what they need, it's hardly scalable. It's fun for the engineers, but it's not scalable. That is one of the biggest challenges that this technology has penetrated the market due to external forces with a speed and scale unseen before, and many of the buyers rarely know what to buy. One of the biggest factors.
You also launched Offmaster some time ago, which seems like a completely different business.
Yes.
Tell me a bit more about that one.
Yeah. I grew up in a family of electricians. I'm the only non-electrician in my family. So my father and my brothers are. And I don't know, I think it's 10 years ago, I went on a hike with my brother and my father, and both of them complained that it is such an ordeal to, at the same time, when you put cables into large construction sites like an airport or a hospital, at the same time put the cable into the walls and the ceiling and write down how much of the cable has been used exactly, and where and how, and which type of cable from where to where. Because what is like the German word Aufmass, that's where the name comes from, means the on-site measurement of how much cable or lamps or, I don't know, switches and plugs have been actually put into the construction site, which is the foundation for the final bill that the electrician can send to the one, well, actually owning the site. So the Aufmaster or Offmaster, which has become quite active in the United States, by the way, is a simple tool. This is hardware, a sensor that the electrician just puts to the cable drum while he or she is installing the cables, that automatically, if you cut a piece of cable from it, determines, okay, this was 120 meters or whatever, and puts it into a protocol that then automatically becomes a part of the final bill. And this saves roughly 30% of the installation costs of a cable, because 50%-ish, maybe more, of the actual costs of 1 meter of cable that is installed is not the material, but the labor costs, including documentation and eventually the whole chain of writing a bill, time management, and this is all automated. This is a multi-billion dollar business globally. And it's run by 2 people at the moment.
Yeah, it's quite interesting, but it's also per unit. I mean, it's 500 euros, but couldn't you like SaaSify it?
There is hardware cost, and then there is
Oh, schniz. Yeah,
so
that's
the
interesting.
so the thing is 500. So the gadget is 500 euros. Yeah, but there is also a
Subscription fee.
Yes, exactly. Currently, it is not promoted in this way. At least, like to get it into the market, it is not promoted this way so much. But the goal is, of course, to bill per meter, because this is where people save money.
Got it. It's fascinating. I think that one would warrant like a full episode, but why were you built that way? You know, you came from a family of electrician. Would you say that there's a lot of entrepreneurship in Deutschland? Are you just like a black sheep, generally speaking? Why were you built that way? Starting these companies in like random fields left and right and finding these opportunities.
Well, no, I wouldn't say so. I mean, Germany is a country of entrepreneurs.
Oh yeah, I thought like more like engineers and on the strict side of things, and not so much on the innovation. Well, no, I will retract my word. Certainly innovation, but not so much on the startup scene. Too regulated, I would say.
Well, this is true, but by and large, people are innovative, but they have grown to be a bit lazy, I would say,
Comfortable.
and comfortable, and not daring to start a company. Oh wait, there is no real need to do. There's no pressure, and I never felt any fear of the risk that is associated, because I always felt that, I mean, even if it fails, there will be chances. I will not die. I will not starve.
Safety nets, but is that good? You know.
That well, the knowing that there is safety nets is good to found a company, but that was not the reason that I did it. But I think that is the reason why you come to the conclusion that Germany is. I forgot what you just said. I liked it.
Comfortable, or Europe generally, right? It's very much. Although I am seeing a lot of new upcoming, very interesting startup in France, Paris, with like Station F. Precisely, London has always been like on the scene, I would guess, but yeah, generally just too much restriction, and it's a nice place to live, I would say. Although the cost of life are raising like pretty much every Western civs nowadays, and the full world. But yeah, I don't talk to a lot of to that many German entrepreneurs that come on this podcast and that have your profile.
The bureaucracy and the restrictions that you're mentioning are not nice, but I wouldn't say they are harming us at the moment in a dimension as we, I mean, if you look at Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it, people are like screaming about how crazy Europe or Germany is. And I think it is really bad, but it is nothing that would harm an entrepreneur of founding a company and growing it to success. I think the reasons why companies that are successful in Europe are not so like ubiquitous is not restriction from the government alone. That would be a too lazy assessment. I think it's more the general sentiment of, I mean, people like young engineers that start in our company, they could have almost double the salary, or could have had. I think this is changing at the moment, when they would have, or if they go to Volkswagen, Daimler, or BMW. So if you are an engineer, or if you are a software engineer, or it doesn't really matter. If you go to one of the large companies, you earn 2 times the money. You have 35 hours to work per week, and you have at least 30 days of holiday per year. So why should you risk anything? There is no logical reason.
So why did you take that risk compared to your peers?
Because if I want free time, I will take it. I don't mind whether I have 30 days or 10. I have to take the right amount, and then I'm fine. And I'm not particularly motivated by this outlook of having an easy life. I like 2 motivating sentences. One is said, I think that John F. Kennedy said it, which is, we chose to go to the moon not because it is easy, but because it is hard. I think it is more interesting to do something that is appealing while you go, rather than being in stagnation. And the other same thing that I learned in school, which is essentially the same as per astra ad astra in Latin, which means the rocky road leads to the stars.
Love that. Let's finish on that. Claudius, thanks for being on the pod. Where can people find out more about you?
Well, on LinkedIn, but we are also we also recorded a few podcasts, and I'm also writing articles about the most enigmatic and mysterious degrading component of the energy transition in various magazines. So I think if you check out LinkedIn, you will find some content about us and me.
Love it. So that was Claudius and Charles.